I'm going to start it up and see how it starts and see if it starts well and idles well, because that's been the problem. I got everything moved out of the way, and now let's go start it. Well, I'm trying to solve vacuum gremlins that have been happening since I changed the fuel filter, and I keep sealed around the tank, didn't solve the problem, sealed elsewhere. Well, I think I broke a sensor when I changed the gasket. I know I broke the mount. I probably broke the vacuum sensor. And these lines are pretty bad, so I'm going to try to change them out. Although, of course, this one, it's all chewed up, and I think part of the problem is the wrong size, and I think it's the size they were actually sold out of. So, this is going to be kind of interesting. Let's see if I can get something to work. And then there's a long line. This line that feeds back down to the fuel, I'm not going to be able to change it myself because I can't get into the bottom part where the valve release is without taking, if I take the full front clip off, I could probably get my hand in there. Or the front axle. I could take the front axle off and get in there. So I need kit. I need someone with a small hand.
He needs the fabled left-handed midget. We call him Kit.
Yeah. I'm replacing both sensors because this is a vacuum sensor and that's a vacuum sensor, and I keep getting vacuum sensor problems, and now I'm starting to have idle problems, which I think this sensor I broke.
Which sensor? Where is it at? Touch it again.
It's right here. It's this one right here.
Okay.
Because it's vacuum control and it's supposed to adjust the vacuum here in the throttle body, and I'm having cold start and cold idle problems when it's below 40. So I have a feeling that's what I broke. This one is vacuum for the fuel system, says that there is vacuum, and I got a new one of them to replace too. I'm going to do something which I really don't want to do, but I'm going to have to. Okay, it's not leaking.
I was going to say, no, he's not playing the tuba. He is checking the hose for leaks.
Yeah, it's not leaking. I am going to go on and change this sensor. Maybe. I'm still debating on whether I'm changing this one or not. Because this one, all this one does is tell you that if there's pressure for the fuel tank. And I don't think that's the problem. I think I broke this sucker when I broke the mount.
I keep telling you, you stress tested it and it failed the stress test. You didn't break it.
But this I'm just going to put back together and leave alone for now.
Yeah. So if you're following along at home, you didn't break anything. You stress tested it, and it failed the stress test.
And no, normal people can't do that with your fingers. Don't pay attention to me doing that. It's cold, and I can't feel anything, so it don't matter. So that I'm going to leave alone for now, even though I do have a replacement one. I bought that replacement because this was fairly cheap, and I didn't want to have to. If it doesn't solve it, I'll go back. But I have parts and pigtails, and this is the one I'm pretty sure I broke. Which this is actually vacuum control from the fuel system to the intake, which they give you an adapter, which I'm hoping I don't need.
And I do apologize for the engine noise. Apparently it's a good day to drive your ATVs down the road for some reason.
That's every day here. Okay, so I've fixed this with a hose clamp already. That's what's holding it on. Because like I said, I broke the mount. So I'm going to start by pulling this. Because I am going to replace these vacuum lines.
Now, is this a special grade of hose that you're using here? Or is it any old...
It's vacuum line, which actually anything that's pressure rated works for vacuum line. The one going back to the tank I actually got fuel line for just to be safe. This line's actually not too bad. But that I've got replacement for, so I'll probably replace it just to be on the safe side. What is it? I'm hiding the pliers from myself. Okay, that's the one to that. This is just the evac canister. They have it up here in the engine bay, which is nice to get to. What's funny is it's been chewed on by rodents. Okay. That just slides out. Even though I broke the bracket, I hooked it back up. And then you got a clip there, wire clip, which I got to figure out. And I can't see what I'm doing, so I'm just pulled it out so I can see.
Thank you. So we can see too.
Yeah. Oh, it's got a pin. It's a pin release one. They really like doing those. I need a screwdriver.
Okay, in case you didn't catch that, he said they're pin release. A lot of these on this car are that way, which is nice, but it's not very normal.
But on these, I've had to start getting used to looking for lock pins on these. Because you don't see them that often. Although on GM, they do plastic things kind of like this on some stuff. But, come on. It's lift up and out, which is easier said than done. There we go. Then you pull that out, set that to the side, and then this pops right off. And there's that assembly. And as you can see, the line's been chewed on kind of badly. So these may not be leaking, and it may just be the sensor, but I'm going to go on and replace it.
How much did that cost you?
What, the line?
No, the sensor. Line is line. I'm sure it's like $5 or something.
It's, yeah, the line's like 50 cents a foot.
Yeah.
50 cents a foot to $1 a foot. Depending
Yeah,
on how much
but
cheaper.
like I said, it's cheap.
The sensor, I think I paid $35 for it.
Okay.
The other one, I think I paid 20 something for.
Okay.
Made in China, but everything is. And then I got to get these untangled because the law of the inanimate objects, they had to be as difficult as possible. And this is actually fuel line, I think, actually, instead of vacuum line, but it's still 50 psi. So, nope, this is just vacuum line. It's not for fuel use. So, but I think it's the right size. Yeah, good tight fit. That should be the right size. Yeah. So there was a gap. I got up. This was the largest size I bought, and then they had this, and then this, which is radiator hose. It was missing the sides between, and that's what I actually needed for this side. All right. And now I gotta get this with plenty of length. It's gonna have to. This was a molded hose, and I don't have a molded hose, so I'm gonna have to have more length. It's got to be able to do that. Do the bend. So I am going to take this clip and attach it to that, and then run the line up and cut it. And I have no problem using spring clips for vacuum lines because normally it's negative pressure, so getting it to stay on is normally not the problem. And I don't think I have to use the adapter because this looks the same. So yay, I don't have the one that needs the adapter. Because apparently some of these use that kind of plug, so they send an adapter with it.
That sounds like a pain in the butt.
Yeah. Oh, you know it works better if you put the clip on before you hook the hose up. Just a tip.
And I do apologize about lighting situations. We don't have the money to put lots of lights in here yet. If you subscribe, that will help us to eventually start being paid for this so we can have money to put lights in here and stuff.
And it was done that way, so that was facing back, but it don't really matter. All right, and then let's get this back in here, if I can. That line over there. Oh, now it's going to hide down there. You come back. You come back here. No hiding. There we go. Get that battery cable out of the way so I can get this back in there. And there we go. Now it's in its mounting. Oh, I got it too high because it slides under too. Because it's got to go down so it goes under. There we go. Now it's in place. Now let's
take a look at it in place here.
And run vacuum line so it don't kink.
Yep.
Get me a knife out of my pocket. And no kinks. Just gonna run that side. I'll give it a little extra length. Cut the 50 in half.
So 25.
Yeah.
What else you need me to do?
Hold the camera. Look pretty.
I can only do one of those things, sir.
Oh, you're getting better at holding the camera. Now, this part. And like I said, I'm pretty sure this is the problem spot. Because when I broke the mounts, this is a pretty solid piece. But when I broke the mount, I may have broke the seal on this. So, it's leaking. Also, could just be these hoses are leaking, but I'm hoping it solves the cold run problem. And then I got to try to find out why this thing's not wanting to shift when it's cold too. That's a whole nother problem. I'm hoping it just needs some fluid. Come on, put this hose on. Try not to break the plastic while I'm getting the hose on. Because this thing I don't want to try to figure out how to bypass the evap canister on because all the vacuum stuff runs through it. These lines actually aren't as bad as I thought they were. I don't think anything actually chewed through them all the way. But yeah, we'll see. I've got that. I got the line replaced going down. It goes to a hard line. But it's way down there underneath the VVAP canister. You'll see the hard line is underneath the air conditioner, underneath this, and back behind the axle. So you go almost straight down back here. And it's right down there, so almost straight down from that side of the canister. And it's in a spot I can't put my hand in. My arm won't fit. My hand won't fit. I'd have to take the evap canister out, and probably the battery out, and probably this fuse box loose to get to it. And then I'd have to bend one of the air conditioner lines. So, yeah.
Would it be
Whereas if your hand will fit, you can go from underneath and get right to it easy.
That's what I was about to ask you.
There's an easy way to get to it right here behind the axle, right down here behind the axle. But there's axle and a cross beam, and my hand will not fit through it.
Yeah, I can't. That's about as good as y'all can get. I'm sorry.
But you can come up from below.
Can't get down there.
And you can see the hole looking down. There's a hole between the axle and the front cross beam. And if you can get your hand in there, you can do it just fine. I can't get my hand in there. At least not far enough to do anything with that clip. So, or to get the line back on. I should have done this while it was off because it would have been easier to get this pin back in. Now I got to feel for where it goes. Don't worry, I can't see anything either, people. Push that down, push that in, there we go. That's on. Now I do the fuel hose line for the top. And I bought 7 foot of this stuff. I didn't need 7 foot of the stuff, but you know, I bought 6 foot last time when I bought all the different vacuum line sizes. and I just had to go buy more vacuum line. You work on old cars that have vacuum systems, you go through a lot of this stuff. Because vacuum error, oh, more times than not, it's a hole in the line. Somewhere I had one of those nice cutters for this stuff. I have no idea whatever happened to. Someone probably used them as scissors, and I'll never see them again. There we go. Wow, tight fit. Trying to get between the plug and the, and this hose is thicker than the original, so it's a real tight fit between the hose and the power plug. Tip, if you're doing this, you may want to put the vacuum line on before you plug it in, because I didn't expect to have that much problem. I got it on there, but it's tight, so I had to turn it so it's facing this way so it clipped good. And then give yourself plenty of hose, and then try not to cut yourself. I'm thinking I need to sharpen this knife. I just need that other clip. And I found these type of pliers work better for these clips because they don't have the adjust in them and they just go flat, and they work a lot better for these spring clips. You want it facing up because it's a pain in the rear when it faces down. Oh yeah, I remember now. I put a vacuum cap on this because I couldn't figure out where that vacuum hole was supposed to go. There's another spot for a vacuum line here that I have no idea where it went. It was just an empty vacuum port. I put a cap on when I got the vehicle. So, I don't know. Something I fixed, I covered when I was getting vacuum leaks the first part. Alright. That repairs what in theory should be the vacuum part that would cause it to idle badly. Now I got to clear everything off so I can start it. I'm going to start it up and see how it starts and see if it starts well and idles well, because that's been the problem. I got everything moved out of the way, and now let's go start it. See if I solve the idle problem. Yeah, it started and it's idling fine. So that's an improvement. This sounds like it might be a vacuum leak somewhere. Oh, that squeals the belt. It needs a fan belt pretty bad. If you can see it through there, you'll see it flapping.
What is that a fan belt to?
That fan belt to everything. It only has the one. The other one powers the AC, and I have it cut. It has a serpentine fan belt for everything but the AC, and then it has a separate feed off. And I had to cut that because the AC was locking up. That belt, I've got to replace it. I just haven't got it changed. And it's not breaking. It's not horrible, but it's to the point where you can't adjust it anymore, so it needs replaced. It's not going to be a problem in the winter. It may fail. It'll probably fail this summer. So it's due for replacement.
So when do you plan on replacing it?
As soon as it's warm enough, I don't mind laying down there and doing it. So, but it powers alternator, water pump, and power steering.
Okay. All right. So does this about wrap this one up?
Yep, about wrap this one up. The one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clear codes because it has a stored vacuum code. I'm going to clear that and see if it stays off. Check engine light stays off.
Okay.
That's it for today. Till next time.
Oh, since
share, like, love, whatever. Order somebody with it. Have fun.
Since the cleared code is a known issue that we've had, how about we stick around for a little bit and see if that fixes it?
Well, it may not come back on until I restart it 3 times.
Okay.
Because a lot of times I'll clear it and it'll start up 3 times before it comes back on.
Okay. So he's going to clear it, and we'll update you then on that code to see if that code comes back. How's that?
That works.
Okay. So as he said, share, like, love, torture somebody with it if you didn't like it. Thank you much. Y'all have a good one.